And now, coming to you live from the City of Angels, Los Angeles, California, it's the Sheena Metal Experience with your host, Sheena Metal, only on KGRA Digital Broadcasting.
Hi, and welcome to the Sheena Metal Experience on KGRA Digital Broadcasting Network. I'm Sheena Metal. I'm a psychic medium. I'm an interfaith minister. I'm a performing artist and a 27-year talk radio host here in Los Angeles, and coming to you live from my home in Southern California every Friday at 3 o'clock Pacific time. This show is about spirituality. It's about creativity. It's about passion. It's about service. It's about being part of one human family. It's really about being the best that you can be and then inspiring others to do the same in this big, beautiful world. And it may be my show, but every week, my friends, it's without a doubt your experience. My guest today is a wonderfully talented comic, actor, author, spiritual practitioner, all-around fabulous guy, love master. The wonderful Craig Shoemaker is here. How are you, my friend? To have you here and see your beautiful face. Hi.
And you as well. Why are we not live together in the same room, holding hands and
I know, right?
Creating the beautiful live touchy space?
Right, because it's a COVID world and I'm a COVID girl. I don't know. It's just the way it is now. It works out great for people that aren't in the area, but you and I definitely need to do something where we're face to face and we're close. Yeah,
absolutely. And now we are being freed, even though everyone's getting COVID. But
right.
So
sure,
it's been a rough year for comics. They pretty much shut us down. Even though laughter's the best medicine, we should be the essential workers, right? Bringing that healing laughter. But they did, and then you got cancel culture. You got the FCC. Everybody's trying to cut down the comedians. I have no idea why, but we're here for your mental, spiritual, emotional health.
Well, and laughter really is a form of medicine, right? And you're absolutely right about that. I'm surprised that the big comedy clubs around the world. So in Los Angeles, for example, I'm surprised the Comedy Store, the Laugh Factory, the Improv, all of which I have worked at and I'm very proud to have, did not create a giant Zoom presence during COVID where people could come and buy tickets to a virtual show.
I know. They did parking lot shows. I don't know if you knew of that.
Sure,
that was their pivot was a parking lot. I do not want hecklers are enough, but I don't want to be honked at. Okay, I deal with that. I'm getting road rage on my own comedy show.
Exactly.
I ended up we did so many different pivots during this thing. I was in, I'm not kidding you, Sheena. I was in Harrison Ford's backyard in Venice where he raised his kids in front of his lap pool with the other people on the other side. The audience is on the other side of the pool. And all I kept picturing is Harrison Ford yelling at his kids, "Do another lap, damn it. You call that a breaststroke?" So that's all I kept imagining is these kids. All these strange gigs have happened. And now we're back live. I'm so happy to be wearing pants in front of people again. This is just, nice? Oh my goodness. I did so many Zoom shows. There's not the same effect as in person. And you know that even our work that we do, our guidance and our psychic work, it's if their energy is really truly in your space, it just ups the level a bit.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love teaching online, but I miss teaching in person because I miss being able to hug people afterwards. And I miss, I remember my mom telling me once when I was doing my radio show on LA Talk Radio before this, before COVID came and shut everything down, including that she read somewhere that if you got 10 hugs a day, it actually added to your life. So I was doing 8 shows a week. So a lot of people came to that studio and hugged me every day. And that was the thing I noticed during COVID that I missed so much. Even though I was around my family and my 2 best friends are down here, I came down to the beach to stay at the house I grew up in, which is where I am now. And I love it down here, but you don't have just that constant hugging, entertainment people, we're touchy people. And you don't realize it till you spend time in the muggle world, that non-entertainment people, non-spiritual world people, they're not always hugging you and kissing you, and they get weird ideas if you do. And so it's been interesting for me to sort of integrate into normal society for the first time in 30 something years. But I did miss that, and I do miss that about teaching. But I do love that you honestly could have moved to New Zealand and we could be doing the same interview right now and nobody would know the difference. And it really does feel like we're sitting next to each other because your energy is so close to mine.
Yeah. She's right next to me, folks. Here she is, right here.
My energy is invading Craig's space. But did you appreciate in some ways the downtime? Because I think growing up in this industry, in the entertainment world, you sort of feel like if you're not working, something is wrong with you. So downtime is bad time, right? But this gave us an excuse for downtime to be good time. And I actually got to settle in my own space and really just chill. And I worked all the time. My spiritual practice took off like a shot, but I didn't have to be 10 places every day and drive from place to place and keep re-putting makeup on in the car. And it was nice to have the chill time. Did you feel that way?
Yeah. At first, I really loved that the birds and the bees, I'm not giving a sex talk here, they came out. Butterflies, less traffic. It was really a chance. I called it a spiritual rebooty call.
Yeah.
And we were in one, and you have an opportunity now. You can take either route. You can go back to the lack and limitation, or you can really get into yourself and in your own growth and transformation. And I chose that path, but it did lead to, I have a different take now. I'm from Philadelphia, but I live in California a number of years. So I've got this edge and I want to be a good person and go along the light, but I'm stuck between namaste and kiss my ass. That's where I live.
Yeah.
So it's really heightened I hate people, but I love people, when you see, because now we're stuck with just looking at social media. And if you look at that, the world's coming to an end.
Right.
And we can't gather as one for spiritual practice. And so stuff like that, it really was a great lesson. And I don't know how many people, are, taking this shift opportunity, but that's what I do. That's what I'm doing. I'm really doubling down on coaching and seeing people and guiding them through it, because people really need guidance now and mentorship now more than ever. And it's really cool. By the way, the other thing that's going on is even interviews. I'm getting interrupted by people texting me. So I have to hang on. I'm gonna set my settings to do not disturb.
Yeah, I do that all the time because people are constantly texting me, and I have a phone that I just use for this. It's like my private phone my best friends have, but they all know what hours to stay away from texting me. So I have the other phone I just keep on, but I keep it silent, and it stays over there. When I'm on camera, I'm using a phone that I basically just use as a camera. It's my fancy camera phone, and that's all it's for. What Craig was talking about, I completely agree. The shift, whenever there's a shift, right, it's followed by sort of a spiritual rawness that then can be anxiety inducing. It can be fear inducing. It can be depression inducing. It can make you not quite sure who you are, so you feel like you're standing on shaky ground. It's a raw feeling. It's new, right? I'm talking about how the shift sort of makes you feel raw, Craig. It's like when you get a cast off and your leg is kind of like, but wait, what's going on? I was safely protected, and now the skin is out in the open and it's terrified. I think this shift, and I don't know how we could have survived this pandemic and not had some kind of a spiritual shift, has left us all feeling a little raw and a little new, like we've been reborn. This is terrific, but what do we do next? And how do we now get out of our jammy pants and integrate back into the world and find our new normal, which isn't going to be the old normal, but can be even more amazing than the old normal was, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what you were asking me, but yeah, I'm definitely not into the old normal, and I'm happy about it. But it's also led to even more edge because I share that with people. I pick up people. I'm an empath. I share people's energy.
Sure.
The energy that's out there right now is one of
Yeah.
anxiety and angst.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the difficulties of being an empath is I
Yes.
truly do feel these energies, but then I get to express and mirror back for them in a funny way.
Yeah.
This new perspective that I have, this new take. When I actually say to the audience, how many people hate people? And they all cheer.
Yeah. Right.
It's where we are right now. But what I try to teach is we need to have a sense of humor about things. Stop trying to cancel the comedians. I mean, it's so severe now that a man walks on stage and slaps a comedian on national television. They gave him a standing ovation. That's how bad things are right now. The assault on comedy and comedians, which I do believe has a lot to do with we're truth tellers. We're curtain pullers. We are Toto pulling that curtain and showing the fraud that's out there, including Hollywood. A lot of phonies and fraud in Hollywood where they don't even have a comedy category. They have categories for best animated short, like who cares? But they don't have a comedy category. We're used as the court jesters. And I love that Ricky Gervais points it out when he hosts the Golden Globes. He really gives them the business, and they don't like it. And I love that they're being exposed, and also their ratings are going down because it's really showing that Hollywood needs to be more organic and genuine. And what's going on right now is it's disingenuous. Even diversity is disingenuous, that they're just casting diversity for the sake of diversity, not for the sake of the organic sense of the piece that you're doing. And it's all catching up to them. The ratings are going down. People aren't going to movies. It's all kind of so hopefully our business is going to hit a bottom. That's what I believe. And it's going to hit a spiritual bottom. The world is hitting a bottom. It's like, where do you go from there? And are you going to go deep into reflection? Are you going to go deeper into your levity, your light, your sense of humor? Yes. Or are you going to be canceled? You know, I thought of this morning, and you're the first to hear this. When people are reading a book, do they read a passage and go, you're canceled, I'm burning you?
Well, but some do, right? But they are now wanting to burn books that do have that subject.
No, you're missing the point. What I'm saying is we make it through films, we make it through books without some protests, without every feeling you need to express yourself, these self-absorbed feelings. Everyone is so self-obsessed. They have to have all their feelings and thoughts have to be honored. No, they don't. Move on. I always say, move on to the next joke. There's another joke 5 seconds from now that'll come that probably won't offend you, and don't look to be offended. My point is, you don't stand up in the movie theater and you say, stop the projector. You don't close a book. You check out the next chapter. And if you still read the book and you want to protest, burn the book or whatever it is, that's fine, because now you've absorbed the whole, not just one little speck that you think offends you, and it really doesn't offend anyone. It's a follower mentality, and now we're in a cancel culture follower mentality of comedians. They already had the FCC after us, already had other sensitive groups and people, politics. If you make fun of their president, it's insanity. It's unbelievable. You have people. I had a guy cancel me because I used the word Donald Trump, and I said this guy subjected himself to a Comedy Central roast before he was president. He had Jimmy Fallon playing with his hair. Why can't we have a sense of humor about a president or anyone?
Yes.
Why can't we have a sense of humor about ourselves? If you're in the trans community, if you're in any community that is diverse and not, patriarchal white. So embrace that. Talk about it. Talk about how you're not accepted and have fun with it instead of punishing people that might not understand. I have a friend of mine, Bruce Jenner, for years. That's his name to me. He's Bruce Jenner. He's been my friend for years. Now, if he changed his name to Bobby, I'd have a hard time calling him Bobby. I called him Bruce for 30 years. So people don't get mad at me for slipping up on a pronoun. I've known him as Bruce. So you try that. Sure. I had a woman, Kathy Breen is now Kathleen. I can't do it. I have a hard time doing it. So you're going to cancel me because I have difficulty with just the adjustments that we have to constantly have, the learning we have to have. I just found out a bad word, a T word. I had no idea until someone pulled me aside backstage, but she didn't do it in a publicly shaming way and say, you used the wrong word. Right. So we're all in a learning process. So we need to stop being so intolerant of others, because you have risen above but you haven't because you're now being intolerant. So that's part of the issue.
Yeah. No, I agree. Well, it's like reverse racism, right? I mean, it's just as bad if it's coming from the other direction. It's bad no matter what. It's all negativity.
Right.
Going
it's all
into the world.
Judgment and labeling doesn't work in any
I have a theory about
capacity.
comedy and the cancel culture. I think that this was a country founded by Puritans. And even though we like to say, oh, we're not like that now, that energy has still gone through America's bloodline. And the
100%.
Puritans, as far as I know, never laughed. I don't have proof of that, but that's my take. So if you are doing something very un-PC, but you're doing it in a drama, so everybody's angry about it, then it's okay.
Okay.
But if you're doing something where people are laughing, then there must be something wrong with it, because we're already suspicious of laughter, because laughter could be the devil anyhow. I think we still have that ultra serious, because you watch, European television, you watch British television. It's very different. Canadian television, Australian television.
Yeah.
It's much more loose. It's much more intellectual to begin with. It's more clever, but it's also much more making the satire of humanity, which is what all good comedy should be.
They've been around longer than we have, and they're more evolved.
Right.
Simple as that. So this is a chance for evolution as well. I mean, we can have a cultural evolution if we choose to, but we seem to see the laws, and we seem to be going backwards.
Yeah. In
many respects, we're going backwards.
Right.
The biggest threat to the patriarchal rule or government are comedians. The biggest threat, because they're truth tellers. They don't want the truth to be exposed. This is why we're literally put in Facebook jail. We're literally put in Instagram jail. They went right after Joe Rogan just for having alternative to their view. He had some alternative guests on his show. I'm not a Joe Rogan guy. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter though. So I don't endorse every word that comes out of his mouth or every guest that comes on. But we have to have the free speech. If you're going to stand for free speech, stand for free speech and be committed to it. And that's what comedians are, the freest speakers there are. We are free. We're not in any union. We're not run by anyone. If sometimes we'll be on TV and might have a Disney that's over us. And by the way, they research you if they cast you. And you won't get cast if you say certain things.
Yeah.
You're
have
right.
tattoos. Yeah.
It's a puritanical mindset. Mm-hmm. And it still goes, and it goes back to witch burning. Mm-hmm. We are witch burning again.
Goes back to Puritans. I'm telling you, that runs. I used to have season tickets to a repertory theater down here in Orange County where I grew up. And I remember once we were going to see a production of As You Like It that was set 1800s Caribbean. And there was a thing inside the program that said, why doesn't America embrace Shakespeare? And it was about the fact that America doesn't embrace Shakespeare because of the Puritans, because of the themes in Shakespearean plays, which are very bold, sometimes very raunchy, very non-sugar-coated, and really assess humanity for what it is. And we, as great-great-great-grandchildren of the Puritans, we still have a weird time with it. And I think we have it with comedy too. How dare somebody laugh at a racial issue? How dare somebody laugh at a gender issue? It's okay to show somebody beating the snot out of a transgender kid in a drama, because then we can all go, oh, but making a joke about something, that's terrible. How dare we laugh? And I think it breaks down to, Craig, in general, how dare we laugh? I don't even think it has to do with what the subject matter is. It's just, how dare we laugh?
The book that I'm writing now is Get Out of Line and Into Alignment. And the lines that we get in start when I see a number of clients for psychic work and guidance. And there's one woman, her name's Beth. And I saw things from her past. I said, you had pigtails, didn't you? She's a very, very serious person.
Right.
And I said, when you had pigtails, you were called Bethy. She goes, I was. And I told her, I actually saw the favorite song she used to sing. But then she got in line. Second grade, she started getting in line. You got to get the good grades. You got to be a good girl. You get pats on the back. You get rewards and grades. You get all that stuff. You pledge allegiance to this thing. You know what I mean? It makes no sense when you're a kid. I just want to, we're born laughing. We're born in the light. We're born with levity and joy and wonderment and curiosity. And then they say, no, you do not. Here's what we will test you on. We'll test you on your memory, your compliance, all of those things. That's what we are taught. So what I'm trying to teach people is be yourself. Your authentic self is this. So I call her Bethy now. And you know what? She smiles every time I say, hey, Bethy. She has this little giggle. She goes back to that point. And it was so clever. I mean, not clever, but it's so fun to bring this out in her and know that these are applicable methodologies that we can use to get back to that space. I don't know where you grew up, but I grew up in Philadelphia. They go, what are you laughing at?
Yeah.
I'm laughing. Are you mad at me that I'm laughing? You know, don't be silly. You know, the silly ones, the class clowns got thrown in the corner. I'm one of them. I had a teacher, I'm not kidding you. Could this ever happen today? She tied my hands up behind my back with blue yarn and put me in a closet for the entire day.
Wow.
She said, sit on this box and don't get up. I'm so defiant. I got up the whole time and I'd look for her thighs. She had mini skirts. She had thighs. I'd look in the vent. I would get back up on there, tied behind my back. Imagine this going on today.
Wow.
And what she was saying was, you're too much for me. You know, that was literally my first comedy skit was in her class telling a painful story about my childhood. And that was my moment. Oh, wow, does that feel good? She took that good feeling and bam, don't you dare get out of line. Don't you dare not do what I say, because we have to have order in this class. And I'm saying, how about a little disorder, have a little bit of fun? And by the way, we'll absorb a lot more. That's what I know now. We absorb a lot more when you're having fun.
Absolutely.
You're sharing experiences, not just thought, and writing things down. How many times you go back to your notes? It's a bunch of BS, right?
Yeah.
You ever go back? I have notes after notes, seminars, and told you right now, oh my God, I get this down. How many times you actually go back to a note and go, whoa, that changed my life? No.
Yeah.
You remember how you felt, and you remember experiences of the speaker. You remember these experiences, not opinions, not thoughts. That's what we remember, and it connects with our inner self. And that's where the rubber's going to hit the road for all of us, is when we start getting out of all these opinions and, you know, the right is this way, the left is this way. By the way, I left the left. I'm out of the left. I was left a long time for good reason, because I always believed these are the more empathetic, you know, more compassionate people. No, the intolerance made me go away. The fact that you say something that opposes the narrative and they go, you're a Trumper. No, I would never in my life be a Trumper, ever. I'm not going to go right either. I'm right here in the centered spot. And I'm telling you, I've been sharing this with people. I can't count the amount of people that want to be in this space.
Yeah.
They want to create that space. There is no news, because that's all corporately sponsored. They never fight the hand that feeds them anyway. The only news is what they choose to be the news. I don't want their news. It's all bad news to keep us in chaos, keep us in fear.
Keep us at each other's throats.
Drug companies sponsors most of the news, right?
Yeah.
Or insurance companies. So they profit from our anxiety that they just gave us. So that's the cycle. Get out of the cycle. Don't watch the news. There's no reason to watch the news. I stopped, and I'm a big Rachel Maddow fan. She's so smart. I like smart people. But I'm not a fan of her, basically, even though she's smart. She's a puppet for her. She can't say something about a company like Monsanto that's poisoning our. She can't, because there goes the sponsorship. You're not getting paid. You can't do a report on that. Sure. And I had a guy arguing with me on Twitter yesterday. He's there. They're not all bad. I said, that's an old saying that people say so you don't become aware. I said, just address what I'm saying, and that is the news is corporately sponsored. You can't deny that. It's not my opinion. So therefore, use your common sense. They can't say certain things, and they don't have funny on there. They might go. They have all this tragedy, and they go, well, we got a story. How about that, Bob? That kitten up a tree. I had a kitten too. And they do 20 seconds. That's all they give to laughter. Yeah. That's all they give to a little bit of joy. They just give a little wrap up at the end, something safe, puritanical, an animal, something like that. But where is the truth being told? Where is the truth of our difficulties we're having? The amount of suicide that's out there, the amount of people, drug addiction, homelessness, it's not being addressed properly. It's skirted over when this real core issue exists in our spirits. We need to all be Bethy. Sheeny.
I agree.
Sheeny,
you bet, Greggy. I'm with you, Greggy. Well, it's interesting because I have Spectrum Cable, and they have a channel. It's Channel 1, and it's the Spectrum channel.
It pops up on my damn TV every time.
Basically, all it is what the news was when we were kids. It's news it's stories about people in Southern California doing things. Someone rescuing pets, a Vietnam vet who started a charity, a lady who started a Hispanic theater company. And it's so refreshing because it reminds me of when the news, the 247 network news, was a mixture of who was dropping bombs on who and what was going on in your neighborhood that was good. Not just, as my parents got older, I started calling the news things designed to scare the crap out of old people, because every single story was something that terrified my parents. Someone's coming to get you. And and my mom was extremely liberal and very open-minded and very much like a left of centrist. But everything was, here comes the tsunami. These bees are going to kill you. So I love sometimes just to watch that channel and find out what's going on in my neighborhood that's good. Here's somebody who, took their last, I'm sorry?
If you define that, what gives you hope?
Right.
Where's the hope? Where's the hope in these stories? Right. There's no hope in the stories. It's like they define your enemy. I remember not long ago in a debate, they would be angry at the other person if they didn't. You must admit Islamic fundamentalist terrorists. Say it now. Well, you won't say it today. Nobody, that was yesterday's enemy. And today it's like the caravan is coming. And, or whatever
Russia.
it is. This is how, and then the reporters, allegedly the debate moderators, they're choosing those questions based on those fears of that present day. They're only fears because they make them. There's a lot of wars going on in the world. Right?
Yeah.
We know nothing about them if they're brown people or black people. We know nothing about them. Go to Ukraine, every day it's in the news, right? Because they look like us. So I said it before, it's such self-obsession.
Yes.
If we would only truly look at self for the answers, then there would be the answer.
Right.
Of course, these conflicts are going to continue to go on. But why would I put my energy into something I have no control over?
Right.
And also, you got to pick your battles. I'm going to stick my little family and make sure my family's taken care of first.
Right.
That they're safe.
Right.
And that they're not only are they safe from possible violations, but they're safe from their own thoughts. Yeah. Because energy follows thought. And if your thoughts are programmed by the programs to believe there's death, destruction, mayhem, chaos, if you believe in that, then you're not safe. You'll never be safe, including health.
Right.
My approach to the pandemic was very different than others. I said, I'm going to keep building my immune system. And by the way, you know how it's done? Laughter.
Yeah.
They cut it out. They cut out laughter, literally cut it out.
Getting rid of stress. I mean, plus zinc is good, but getting rid of stress, living in a place of constant fear is going to weaken your immune system more than anything else that you can do. Fear is a crippler. And that's why it's important, like I said, to see these stories. Like, here's a lady who took her EBT card and started a pastry business, and now she has 3 stores. We need to see stories of people who have hope, who have, like you said, hope, Craig, who have taken their worst times and built themselves back up to a time of joy. We're not saying nobody struggles. We're not saying there aren't bad times. I certainly am very open in my own practice about things that have happened to me that are negative, times that were tough for me, because people need to see that you can come from there and you can come to here.
You can overcome any obstacle. I do guided laughitation. I don't know if you ever see me do that, but so for the people who have a hard time meditating, or anyone, it's so much easier than meditation, because meditation, a lot of people get caught in their thoughts and their fears and their worries and their doubts, and all that still goes on. In laughter, you literally, watch this. Watch, I'll do it. I'm depressed. in that moment in time, I am not depressed.
Yeah.
They can exist in the same space.
Right.
So I do this guided levitation, and in the levitation, I have them say out loud what their biggest fear is, what their obstacles are, what's getting in the way, and they say it. So I did my own levitation on my way to like a golf. This is a simple one, but a golf tournament, right? And I said out loud, my athletic career, I struck out in slow pitch softball in front of thousands of people. So anyway, so here I'm all the shame attached, and the time I golfed when I was a little kid, and all the rich kids wouldn't let me on the green because I wore baseball spikes, and I said it out loud. I said on the way to, and I'm not a good golfer. I got a trophy in a celebrity golf tournament for closest to the car. I mean, that's how good I am. But I did this, and afterwards I realized I just took this breath and went, oh my God, look at all that I put on, all that past, that those people are either dead or don't care, and I just got to the meaninglessness of it. And who cares if I miss this putt? And I won the championship. So I'm up in the Calabasas Country Club. I am there on a plaque for the rest of my life, and then some. They're dead people on these plaques. So I won because I did a levitation, a guided levitation. I've had people during levitation say, I lost everything. I said, your friends? Oh, my friends too. And at the end, it's on my speaker reel. You can see it. This guy, he had such joy at the end of it. He had such joy because it's a release. It's a stress. We just have to let go of this stuff. I had a guy, I was kidnapped and by a serial pedophile. People go, oh, they always go, oh, don't go, huh? It's a wonderful thing that happened because now I get to share it with other people. My victory is he does not hold the key to my prison.
Yes.
No longer. I learned how to forgive. I learned how to forgive myself. I learned how all of that from that difficulty that I went through, which we all have some modicum of difficulty.
Absolutely.
How are you going to go through it? How are you going to go through it? You're going to go through grace and transformation, or are you going to stay the victim? And are you going to surrender, or are you going to fight to be right and that you're the worst victim in the world? I just, this is what I'm born to do now.
I agree.
Is share that.
And it doesn't take away this one area of your life growing. And I found this when I sort of came out with my psychic gifts too. It doesn't stop your creativity. It does all the same thing, because the messages we get creatively, right, Craig, and the messages that we get spiritually all come from the same channel.
That's exactly right.
It's all a co-creation with spirit. So it doesn't take away from anything. It just adds to your life. And I think because we grew up comedic actors and comics, and we know how to bring funny, to bring funny into tragedy makes people understand they can look at their own tragedy and think, that is kind of funny. I work a lot in the narcissistic abuse support world for people who've survived narcissistic people. And I survived one that literally almost killed me, figuratively and probably literally. I tell those crazy stories to make people laugh, because then other people go, oh yeah, and you know what mine did? Mine did this nutty thing.
They identify with it.
Pretty soon we're all laughing in a room about this crazy stuff and these absolute weirdos that we all believed at one point. And it takes away their power. And it just makes them comic folly.
This is the thing with deifying people like that. I talked to a guy, mentoring a guy the other day, and he loves Star Wars. He has a Star Wars shirt. And I said, I'm going to relate this to Star Wars. I was teaching him actually specifically about creativity and comedy. And I said, well, if you watch Star Wars, look at the Jedi. They're masters, and every one of them is different. Because I have a thing about laughter, it's an acronym: love, acceptance, understanding, or uniqueness. I said, what makes you unique? Every one of those Jedi Masters was completely unique. Mace Windu looks nothing like Yoda. I said, or do you want to go? He was talking about the Comedy Store. I go, it's a dark place.
Yeah.
And I remember the documentary. Oh, it's my family. I go, I don't want that as a family. I chose my family. I don't choose that family, because there's nothing sustainable, scalable, present, divine about it. So I said, that's the darkness. So if you want to give into the dark side, there's always a lure. Hey, look, we're the hippest. We're the coolest cats on the block.
Right.
You want to come over here? Well, now you're in line. You might as well put on a white suit and be a stormtrooper and worshiping Darth Vader and Darth Sidious. You're giving into your dark side. If you want to go to the light, it's individuals. It is individuals for unity, but it is individuals first, and work on yourself and work on those unique qualities that you have about you, not blending in with the others. It's like Wizard of Oz.
Right.
Oh, we
Yeah.
owe her. That's what they're saying. Oh, we
Yeah.
owe her. It's the same thing. It's another
Right.
mythological
Hive mentality.
Exactly. It's that follower
Yeah.
mentality that people are comfortable with. Let's be individuals as a whole.
Yes.
As a one, we be individuals and embrace and actually support people's individuality. And what you're talking about earlier, the puritanical people, the Puritans, they did not want, and no religion wants individuality.
No.
They'll tell you what a sin is. You got to, the Catholics, what they do, you go and here's a couple Hail Marys, like that's going to do it.
Right. And you're done.
The person you are now deifying, you don't even see them. I think they're on the other side of a thing, whatever that confessional is.
Sure.
But so you're deifying these people to dictate how you feel about yourself. You might not think it's a sin. Oh, you do now. And then they guilt you, sin, and they make your life miserable because misery loves company. I want to start a laughter movement, Sheena.
Yes.
I want to start a movement of laughter, light-minded, levity-minded people that want to go back to before second grade, before first grade, and truly embrace this. Your kids laugh 200 times a day, and adults laugh 20. Let's catch them.
Yeah.
We got to catch them.
Well, even social media, right? I was thinking, Craig, that your story about being locked in the closet, it's that kind of prepared you for Facebook. I always say that Facebook is like the mom from the movie Carrie. You're always locked in the closet and you never know why. And social media focuses so much on banning, blocking, canceling, getting rid of you. You're in jail. What about positive stuff? How about taking people who've done some amazing videos or posts or put up inspiring pictures and lifting them up and promoting them and making them special instead of just, oh, don't mess with us or we will shut you down. It's all the angry parent. It's not the nurturing parent. And I think it's that way with networks. It's that way with organized religion, right? It's all about don't break the rules or else. It's not about, hey, that was wonderful what you did. And we're going to make you, parishioner of the month. It's all about punishing. It's all the negative. And that negativity has seeped into us as a species.
Absolutely.
And I think we spend a lot of time on the defense reacting to it.
But one of the things I teach is repetition causes intuition. So if you want to tap into your own intuition, not someone else's, you must repeat the behavior. The behavior to repeat, though, is guided laughtation. I have another thing called chuckle, chatter, laughter. Bring joy to people, be of service to people. You start repeating that, you'd be grateful. If you have those tools that you are using, but if you just use the one tool of giving yourself over to some false god, that's another thing the Wizard of Oz was about. Don't worship false gods.
Yes.
They worship this guy. He was a guy behind a curtain. He was a charlatan.
Yeah, and terrified.
Right?
A fearful little man.
And you had him in a walled city. And here, I'll give you a little barbershop. And a couple of la-di-das. You get a couple of la-di-das here. And you get to, have a horse with a different color. And you got, we're in Mario Land of Oz because we don't know anything outside. But we go outside there. Oh, only he has our answer. Only he can protect us.
Right.
Instead of people realizing they can protect themselves, that there is no place like home, which is where the heart is.
Yes.
There's the message of that as well. The land. I want to take people to the land of ha-has. And you realize the word ha is so spiritual. It's even in, amen, hallelujah, ha-ha. It's all there. And I think, and it's in the Bible. It's so much of spiritual practice, religious practice has hints of this.
Yes.
Of how important it is to find joy and laughter and wonderment and curiosity and laughter. All those things. It's in there, but not focused on. They focus on the scary stuff. You're going to get swallowed by a whale or whatever the hell it is.
Right. Right.
So,
Pestilence is coming.
Oh, and what's the frogs? Armageddon and it's Doomsday.
Right.
How many? We're around the same age. How many doomsdays have we been through? Including 2000. You remember that was?
Oh, right. Yeah. When I did radio that night, I was working for CBS, and we were the show that was going to be there as midnight turned over. So it was nothing but us, security guards. We had to get special badges to go in the building. The program director and the operations manager general manager, came down to sit with us in the studio because we were all prepared for the end of the world. I mean, everything was going to end at midnight, right? And then at midnight, it was the biggest nothing burger in the history of man. Nothing happened. Everything just clicked over. We didn't all die. We didn't become pod people. But the fear surrounding what could happen to us that night. I mean, we normally had one security guard for the entire building. There were probably 10 security guards there that night.
Yeah.
And it was all about this fear of, oh my God, do the show that night if you dare. And I was like, what's going to happen? It's like a clock.
This will be your last show.
It just turns over to the next thing. I mean, it's a clock.
Clock and tick, and that was it. But how many people really, and I always wonder when people take these roads, like even, I don't want to be political, but I will, Iraq, right? Iraq was a big lie. And you couldn't even suspect that it was a lie. They would put you into a corner, shame you.
Right.
Bush had 80% approval rating. Let's go get him. And I'm watching it going, get who? First of all, the Iraqis didn't even do the towers. And and all this other suspicions I had, but I couldn't even have suspicions. I had a guy who was ready to punch me, go kiss Saddam Hussein's flag. I go, I'm sorry. I'm not afraid. He's coming here. I'm not, okay?
Yes.
Okay, this wicked witch does not exist.
Yeah.
Does not exist. And that's the thing is that they keep you, and again, back to the Wizard of Oz, when she pours the water on her friend, naturally, organically, genuinely, she's in flow, pours it on him to save him because he was on fire. She didn't realize what was going to happen. The consequences, the outcome from being of love was what? It was love. She freed them. She said, I thought when I was a kid, I'm like, oh my God, these Winkies are going to, that's it. They're going to chop with those big choppers. I was, oh my God, you killed her. I'm like, all hail Dorothy.
Yeah.
She freed them from being dressed in these costumes. They were all look the same, remember? They're all the same.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing is, can we be free? Can we choose? I hope anyone listening, if one person gets this, is free yourself from the bondage of self, which has been put there by society through the programming and conditioning. Can you recondition yourself through repetition to have stronger intuition where you realize when you're being had? When that whole Iraq thing, I'll never forget, Scud this and all this. Man, they had it all going, didn't they? And I kept thinking to myself, oh my God, there's innocent people over there that we're not even counting are being killed. And just because they happen to live there, just like half the country's not happy with who the president is. Does that mean another country can come invade us because it's the president that another country doesn't like? It just doesn't make any sense to me. But you can't express it. Let's express it all. Let's be honest and truthful. That's what comedy is. It's truth.
Yes.
It's absolute truth. And it's exaggerated truth. Have fun with it. I love exaggerating. But there's always ingrained in truth at the bottom of it all. And why can't we go there and be okay with it? Have you ever noticed that they say the word, you've heard this before, never talk politics or religion? How many times have you heard that?
Exactly. Never at parties with friends, never bring up
don't
politics
talk
or religion.
about politics. You know why? Yeah. Because the politicians and the crooked politicians and the crooked religious leaders don't want you to expose them. So they put that into the trope, into the narrative.
Sure.
So now that's our immediate response with no thought. I'm thinking to myself, well, if you're so strong with your faith and your religion, then what are my words going to do to it?
Exactly.
Am I going to throw you off? There really goes to show that deep down people, their own intuition, that they know that they're being had. Yeah. They really do know. And, but the opposite for me with God, higher power, higher source, whatever you want to call it, way about that.
Yes.
Because that's within me. That's within me. That's turning over results. That's taking good action. That's being kind. That's being sweet. That's being loving. That's being filled with laughter and joy and spreading this around. That's what that higher source guides me to do. Yes. I don't need a person with a smock or a thing, a schmott, or whatever the hell they're wearing. I don't need them to tell me where my enlightenment is.
Yes.
They're the ones who need to enlighten the fuck up.
Well, but that's the fear, right? That takes away the power from society. If you tell people you can't communicate with your own spiritual God, right? You cannot communicate with God without going through this spiritual leader. You can't communicate with government without going through these people. The truth is, any American citizen can write a letter to the president anytime they want, send it to the White House. You're allowed. Anybody can open up and talk to God anytime they want. Nobody can tell you can't. You're allowed. Our country was set up so that you could speak to government officials and send letters if you wanted. Our country was set up so that you could have that freedom and those checks and balances, right? Our spirit has set up for us a life where we're supposed to be in constant contact with spirit. You're allowed. If you don't like the way you're being treated on a college campus, you're allowed to write to the dean. But we're in such fear that it's not allowed to happen. Don't do it. Don't rock the boat. Don't, that we stay in a fearful place and we believe we have to go through these middlemen. You know what I mean? If you don't like your meal at McDonald's, you call the manager. You don't go back and beg the fry cook to redo the fries. Now, I don't want to redo your fries, lady. You go, okay. You know what I mean? You're allowed to go directly to the source. But
and you know what? The people I believe that need to hear that also are the people I believe are in denial. My people, my former people, liberals. I believe that liberals really need to hear this messaging.
Yes.
You canceling people so quickly because they don't agree with you. You are also a follower. You also deify drug companies, for instance, and science. How am I supposed to deify science? Science is an ongoing process. It's not a finite thing, which we found out, by the way. We found out the hard way, but there was this ignorance that took place. And obviously same with the right. And I've been against a lot of that stuff that, oh God, the patriarchal stuff and the gun stuff, it just drives me crazy, but I have to, come at them in a different way and not shame them and tell them they're wrong. Get logical, get spiritual, get kind.
Yes.
Compassionate, empathetic, and use those tools when you're speaking to people. So I have empathy for the left and the right. I've been both.
I do too.
I was born, my mom's right. I hate the label, but for lack of another term, my mom's right wing. By the way, I want to share one thing with you, and
please,
before we go, I want to share a piece of recovery with you.
Please.
About my mom. My mom, I had a perspective on my mom, label, narcissist, whatever it is. And I had proof, and I would get the proof. My ex-wife is borderline personality disorder and really tried to take me down with her false allegations. Horrible. Like cost me $1 million in court, 50% custody of my children. And I did. I stood firm. I knew what the truth was. And I would not allow this craziness it did enter, and then believe me, it entered me, and I had bad responses. I'm no angel here, but my mom kind of took her side, and I actually had 2 children from my wife and my 2 children, my ex-wife. She would give gifts to my ex-wife and her kids and visit her, not me, and they're down the street a mile away. And then one thing happened. So I was really wrapped up into the story. I was like, okay, I already made my amends to her. I can be at her funeral, I'll be fine. I really had that in mind. She's narcissistic, so just keep her over there and all that. And I very victim-y though, now in retrospect. So one day, my wife says, your mom wants to visit. And I said, oh, probably when she's visiting my ex. Yes, true.
Yeah.
Oh, she's going to fit us in. True. But something happened. I played CDs of her on my old radio show. And I used to have a thought also, she never says I love you. She had a segment called What's Buggin' Barb. It's the funniest, I swear to God, people roaring laughing at this woman who is from the right, but scared. She's scared to express herself. So she says, nope. I remember one time she says, now those feminists better not come after me, but I'm going to say something. If I go on a train, it's a female engineer, I'm not getting on it. It's a man's job, So right?
Sure.
So laugh with her, okay? Don't shame her and go, you sexist and all this kind of stuff. So I'm listening to these, I'm roaring laugh. I call the kids and listen to Nana. And I hadn't talked to her in 6 years. And that was the moment I went, first of all, she ended every show by going, love you. Oh, no, that never had impact. She also was really funny. And I made a career out of being funny.
Yeah.
So I said, yes, have her come over. We went, we had laughter. she's making fun of her husband is going blind and he tries to get free samples, and she'll say, she reads the note and it says free samples. She goes, Sydney, it says no free samples at this one. She's going to me, stop, don't tell. So we're having fun. From that moment forward, my mom is such a part of my life. This is a few years ago. There's no more, it could never go back. And you know why? Radical acceptance. I radically accept. This is what if anybody can take anything what I say today, radically accept people for who they are.
Yes.
They're not going to change for you. And by the way, she hasn't changed necessarily, but she opened up to who she really is. And she really is a loving person. She says, I love you. We laugh all the time. We talk to each other on the phone. We're writing a book together. She's part of my comedy act. I read her letters to me. These funniest letters, and they're so different to me. She's so different. Embrace the differences. Accept the differences. So now this woman that I thought was this big bad wolf who colluded with my ex-wife, and by the way, she ended up telling me, I loosened her up to the point she goes, I never believed her. And I went, really? She just said it out of the blue. She also apologized for not protecting me when I was kidnapped. I didn't force that to happen. It didn't happen on my time. Turn over the outcome, turn over the results, and we'll be so much happier. I'm so much in bliss with my mom right now. And I wanted to share that story with people.
It's beautiful.
It was really, really difficult. I was crying one night. There was a surprise party. Always people that loved me. I go, my mother had just hung up on me, thinking I was someone. I was horrible. And I think about back. I go, oh my God, there's that victim mentality. I kept it going. I found reasons, and I just want to tell people, you have the power within you. There's a higher source within you that's so beyond this pettiness. It's so beyond labels. It's so beyond limitations.
So true.
It's beautiful. Laugh it off. Have a great time. I laugh with my mom all the time. I'm actually going to call her. She says, you don't have me on stage because I'm going to upstage you. She says.
That's the best.
Yeah, she's a riot. I actually have her letters. I should read one for you. And I read them on stage now. That's how funny they are. And people are laughing. They must get it too.
It's great. It's such a beautiful story. And I love that. And we're now completely out of time, my friend. Thank you for being here. It's always such a joy to have your wit and wisdom and your beautiful soul here. And that you tell it like it is, but always with love and beauty. Where can people find you online?
CraigShoemaker.com. Shoemaker, not Schumacher. There's no umlaut, not off the boat from Bavaria. You make shoes. You don't mock shoes.
That's true. Well, maybe some people mock shoes.
Crocs. You can mock Crocs.
Yes, please. Yes,
you know what the holes are for? So your self-esteem can slip out. That's what the
exactly. Yes.
I have 5 pair right here. I don't care. I love you. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend, the wonderful Craig Shoemaker. Everybody, please, if you missed those links, please go to my site at sheenametalspiritual.com and find this beautiful man and learn more about all the things he's doing to bring more love and acceptance and beauty into the world. You can also find me on social media everywhere at Sheena Metal. Until I see you next Friday at 3:00 Pacific time, seek peace, live in love, lead with kindness, embrace unity, always work to raise your vibration. And remember, most importantly, that you are love and you are loved. Thank you so much to KGRA. Thanks to my guest, Craig Shoemaker. I'm Sheena Metal, and this is the Sheena Metal Experience. We'll see you next time.